Hey guys, very basic Bible quick read. We're going to start at Esther chapter 6, verse 2. Here we go. 7 minutes. And it was found when what Mordecai had reported about Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's eunuchs who were doorkeepers, that they had sought to attack King Ahasuerus. Then the king said, wait. Then the king said, what honor or dignity? Here, let's go look back. Chapter 2, I believe it is. Here we go. In those days, while Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate, Bigthan and Teresh, two of the king's officials from whom those who guarded the door, Bigthan and Teresh became angry and sought to attack King Ahasuerus. But the plot became known to Mordecai, and he informed Queen Esther, who told the king in Mordecai's name. Then when the plot was investigated and found to be so, Bigthan and Teresh were brought and hanged in the gallows, and it was written in the book of the Chronicles in the king's presence. Okay, so in front of the king, they write all this stuff in Mordecai's name in the book of the Chronicles. All right. So the night that the gallows for Mordecai are being built by Haman, during that night, the king could not sleep. So he gave an order of the book of the records, the Chronicles, and they were read before the king. I guess the king's bored, so he's like, hey, go read me some stuff. Or he can't go to sleep, so he wants to get bored, so he's like, read me stuff. And it was found written what Mordecai had reported about Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's eunuchs who were doorkeepers, that they had sought to attack the king Ahasuerus. Then the king said, what honor or dignity has been bestowed on Mordecai for this? And the king's servants who attended him said, nothing has been done for him. So the king said, who is in the courtyard? Now Haman had just entered the outer courtyard of the king's palace in order to speak to the king about hanging Mordecai on the wooden gallows which he had prepared for him. Uh-oh, Mordecai going to be hanged. So the king's servant said to him, behold, Haman is standing in the courtyard. And the king said, have Mordecai come in. Haman then came in, and the king said, remember, Haman's got a big head. I'm the best ever. I've got all these kids, and I was invited to a banquet, and I'm the best ever. Haman then came in, and the king said to Haman, what is to be done for the man whom the king desires to honor? And Haman said to himself, whom would the king desire to honor more than me? This dude's prideful. Therefore, Haman said to the king, for the man whom the king desires to honor, have them bring a royal robe which the king has worn, and the horse on which the king has ridden, and on whose head a royal turban had been placed. Then order them to hand the robe and the horse over to one of the king's noble officials, and have them dress the man whom the king desires to honor, and lead him on a horseback through the city square, and proclaim before everybody, so shall it be done for the man whom the king desires to honor. Haman thinks he's fixing to have the royal treatment. Haman thinks, I'm going to have the king's robe and the royal turban. You know, the king wants to order, right? Then the king said to Haman, quickly, take the robe and the horse, just as you have said, and do so for Mordecai the Jew, who is sitting at the king's gate, and do not fail to do anything of all that you have said. So Haman took the robe and the horse. Haman dressed Mordecai. Haman led Mordecai on horseback throughout the city square and proclaimed before him, so it shall be done for the man who the king desires to honor. Haman hates Mordecai. Then Mordecai returned to the king's gate, while Haman hurried home mourning with his head covered. And Haman informed Zeresh, his wife, of all his friends, everything that had happened to him. Then his wise men and Zeresh, his wife, said to him, if Mordecai, before who you began to fall, is of Jewish origin, you will not prevail over him, but certainly will fall before him. Yikes. So they know that the God of the Jews is going to take him down. They're like, hey, if this guy's Jewish, there's nothing you can do. If you've already begun to fall before him because you had to like put him on the horse, dress him up, lead him, you've already done this, and he's Jewish, man, you're toast. You're screwed. While they were still talking with him, the king's eunuchs arrived and quickly brought Haman to the banquet which Esther had prepared. Oh, it's the banquet now. Yeah. Now the king and Haman came to drink wine with Esther and the queen. I wonder if Haman's like, wait, okay. Get a hold of yourself, Haman. This is all happening so quickly. And the king said to Esther on the second day also, as they drank their wine at the banquet, what is your request, King Esther? It shall be granted to you. And what is your wish? Up to half of the kingdom, it shall be done to you. Then Queen Esther replied, if I have found favor in your sight, O king, and if it pleases the king, let my life be given me as my request, and my people as my wish. For we have been sold, I and my people. Remember, the king doesn't know she's Jewish yet. To be destroyed, killed, and eliminated, just like Haman said. Now, if we had been sold only as slaves, men and women, I would have been kept silent, because the distress would not be sufficient reason to burden the king. Then King Ahasuerus asked King Esther, who is he and where is he who would presume to do such a thing? She doesn't know he's a Jew. She thinks he's okay. She doesn't know that Haman was like, is the decree to kill all the Jews by Haman. The king doesn't know that's what Esther's talking about. And Esther said, a foe and enemy is this wicked Haman. Then Haman became terrified before the king and queen. Then the king then got up in his anger from drinking wine. This is an awesome story. I love this story. Hey guys, to get a deeper exposition, to get more teaching on this, to get really good long teaching about it besides this quick read that we're going through, scroll down and you'll see the links to verse by verse Bible teaching. Until then, we'll see you on the next Very Basic Bible.